guys, welcome back to another YouTube video here today. And today we are going over my update on radiation Harlowe, and my mouse just died. Anyways, lagging because I plugged my mouse in apparently. So what we're using on this build is broken wings. You can also use for AC May for mobbing, or you could use a Ripper bod with SMG, would work really well too. But if you want Jacobs, pick up yourself a Radiation Ripper Jacobs AC May with all SMG. And then you can use the bod for Boston 2, Mobbin 2. But if you would like, you could use must be like a shotgun ammo Rainmaker, or even like an SMG Rainmaker would work fine. I don't have too many other radiation guns on here at the moment. Gore Master would also work really well for mobbing. You could also use the convergence for mobbing, would work really fine. You'd like to use that over the bod or the broken wings. Really good choice there. For crystals, I recommend using the uh Wombo combo for any if you're gonna go against like crystal bosses like Bloom. Wombo combo is just gonna be your friend here. Thing is just gonna absolutely shred the crystals like there's no tomorrow on this build. You could also use the linebacker if you'd like for mobbing. It works pretty okay. A few other options to this build. I could say the shooting skew, if you could get a shooting skew of radiation, would probably work really well. I don't have one to test because I haven't got one yet. I was farming for one for been farming for one forever, and I still haven't got one yet. So, but that could work really well too. But anyways, that's all the guns I recommend for this build, and also recommend just grabbing a Categorized Revenge. Is the reason being, sometimes it's kind of hard to get your access go back during mobbing, so you can use the Categorized Revenge to get access go back really easily. And then we're using the Shiny War Paint to boost fire rate even further on our Wombo combo when we're bossing. So you pop this, you get 30% more fire rate and 30% movement speed. And I would recommend looking one for a version with fire rate on it, because then you total of 45% more fire rate, which is really good. Using the crit knife, to get guaranteed crits. And then we're using the Scourging Hero Bullet. Now, what's the most important thing on effect on this that you need is the bullet hose. Um, we are going to be mostly looking for bullet hose here, is so your critical funding works a lot better with the Wombo combo. Critical funding works all right with the Wombo combo. If you uh just have it regularly, it works all right, but it doesn't work super well. And these extra projectiles allow for more critical refunds, so this is just really nice quality of life. And the 20% more fire rate and 20% more magazine size is also really nice. So I would recommend looking for this version of the Vladoff enhancement. And then we're using the triple siphon super soldier, which we are using for more fire rate. You get recommend picking up a siphon version of this at least, so you can use this really well. Works really nice. And then we're using the reactor. This has 5 in decoherence and 2 in fixal charge. It has 53% skill damage and 35% status effect application damage, application chance, which always comes with it. Now, you could look for action skill damage too, because that would also benefit this. Skill damage is really good here, though. And then we're using 3 skill crafts, so you get skill damage and skill critical chance. And then dealing skill damage increases skill damage by 2% for 10 seconds. It stacks up to 25 times, which is really good. And then we're using 2 high calibers, gives you 25% more projectile speed and 10% more gun damage on the second one, which is really nice. Multiplicative, so it's more than what it says. And then we're using 5-inch Citron, so you get 20% more fire rate. 5 in field ready prototype, so you get 30% more action skill damage. 2 in elementary, so you get elemental damage. A little bit more elemental damage. We can also get down the tree. 3 enriched, so we can get, this is the most important thing here. We get 21% more radiation damage, because we are doing a lot of radiation damage here. And then Harlowe gains increased radiation damage and irritation chance. The skill is also really good here. And then you're going to want to put 2 in glow up. Harlowe gains in critical hit chance against guns and interior enemies. We're irritating enemies all the time because we're using radiation damage all the time. And then we're using Harlowe deals bonus radiation damage to entangle enemies. So she deals bonus 18% of radiation damage dealt. And then we're using the Fistol Launcher for the class mod. Whenever Harlowe damages an irritated enemy, or Harlowe enemy to entangle enemy shoots a radiation dart at another enemy. And now for the skills, we are using Neutron Capture. Harlowe Unstable Energy Pocket deals enemies is stored. Whenever it explodes, Harlowe gunshots are converted to radiation damage. She gains increased damage dealt based on the portion of stored damage. Damage transfer 4% of action skill damage dealt. Duration is 8 seconds. And then we're using Demon Core. Harlowe Unstable Energy Pocket travels shoots as radiation darts at enemies. Whenever Harlowe entangles an enemy with her action skill, automatically irritates that enemy. And this has a total of 42% cooldown. And then we are using 5 and Momentum. This is really good here. So you get 25% more crit damage. You're using 5 and Neutron Decay because we're always doing radiation damage and always irritating enemies. So this is always proccing. And then we're using 3 in Renaissance, so our action skill gets 9% damage per stack. We get higher action skill damage. 2 in Conservative Reality. You get 1% cooldown per action skill when you shoot an entangled enemy. And then we're using 4 in Gamma Ray Burst, so when you pop your action skill, you get first shot gets a bonus radiation damage with shield dealt. And then Harlow Certainly Principle, we put 1 in here so we get down the tree. 3 in Critical Funding, so we can infinitely shoot the Wombo Combo and any other gun we decide to use that has a bunch of projectiles. And then we're using 5 in Decoherence. Really good here. Decoherence double dips. So this is really important for this build. And then we're using 5 in Latin Charge. Harlow deals bonus damage from guns, melee attacks, and actions to kill while she has Overshield. And this gives you 50% more bonus damage of Overshield. So this boosts your action skill even further. It gives you 50% more damage dealt of your Overshield, which is just really nice. Then we put 1 in one ray reaction, so we can entangle enemies with a status effect really easily. So say they're not entangled, and let's say we don't have like a way to, like, okay, say we were using something, I don't know, this. You can't entangle them normally without that skill. So you basically shoot them and they're entangled with this. And that's why we're using that skill, so when you're immediately shooting them with any of your guns, they're immediately entangled. So that is just overall very nice. And then when you use that, you know, you get tons of damage. Now you could use this gun too. This gun works pretty well. As you can see, it's hitting for like 400k with this on this dummy right here that we're hitting them directly. Not too bad. The Wombo Combo is the star of the show here, though. As you can see, this one hit for 4.4 million, and this one hit for 1.9 million. We are hitting for massive amounts of damage for the Wombo Combo. 104 million melee. And then for the specializations, we're using Riddle You This. And then we're using I Am Gun, so you get 50% action skill damage when your gun increases. And then we're using Honed in Mind, action skill critical hit chance. And this gives you action skill critical hit damage, which is really good. And then we're using Groundbreaker, so when you're doing stored damage, you store damage of your gun or action skill, you can do melee damage. You could opt out and you don't need to use that. And so we just popped our action skill, didn't do any shooting. Then we hit it for a 1.3 million melee, which is pretty impressive to be. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.